beautiful friends. It's Erica. I wanted to talk today about a trend I'm seeing on social media that I feel warrants some discussion, and it has to do with the idea of men being coached by men versus being coached by women. And it's really interesting because over the last, I'd say 6 months in particular, I have seen more and more men stepping forward in their awakening and in their ascension and in their personal growth to help work with other men to embody more of true healthy masculinity, also balancing their feminine side, like all of that. And I think this is something to be celebrated. I think this is a very, very beautiful sign of the direction humanity is going in, because so much of the distortion we see in the world stems from distorted masculine and distorted feminine energy. And many of you know I have my channel, The Real Men Project, and I don't know if I'm going to post this video there or if I'm posting it on my other YouTube channel. So as I'm recording this, I don't know where I'm posting it. So bear with me as I speak to where it might be. But I applaud and celebrate this movement of men like working together and getting coached and figuring themselves out and doing the deep level work. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than that happening. Yet I want to address something I see being perpetuated in a lot of the posts I'm seeing about this, which is men need to be coached by men and men only. Like, men can't be coached well by women. And granted, I'm a woman and I'm doing this work coaching both men and women. And so in general, I think it's really important. I think there's a time and place for both. And I think it's important for people to open their hearts and minds to the gifts that both bring, because I think it can be very limiting if men are feeling like, I don't want to be coached by, or men are feeling like I can't be coached by a woman as well as I can be by a man because a woman is not a man. Well, it obviously can go in the reverse. Like, why would a woman be coached or have a life coach that's a man if a man's not a woman and doesn't get what the woman's journey is like? I mean, it's like that same logic. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. There is a lot of value in being coached by somebody who has a similar experience to you and can relate to you on that level, for sure. But one of the things that I think people can be missing is if they're stuck in that belief that men only can be coached by men, otherwise it's a waste of their time, is they're missing some of the gifts of that dynamic, and vice versa too. Because one of the reasons that, for example, I started my men's channel was because there was a real need I was guided to do this because there was a real need and sort of like a gap in men being seen and recognized by the feminine, from her power, from her light, right? So many men are used to operating in a world where they're being seen through the lens of the distorted feminine, and the distorted masculine. And there weren't many examples of men being truly honored and seen from the feminine's viewpoint, from the feminine's perspective. Because quite frankly, guys, it's the same thing the other way around, right? Women, we can pump each other up and tell each other all these great things about what it means to be a woman and what we see in the other person. But have you really seen it through the eyes of the masculine? You haven't, right? You haven't. You think you might get it, but you really can't honestly see it from that perspective if that's not your true essence. And the same goes in the reverse, right? Men supporting other men on their journeys, allowing them to talk about, being vulnerable or all these things that they're growing through and learning and the mistakes they've made, it has real merit, right? It does. There's a safety amongst other men to be able to do that. And at the same time, it may feel a little intimidating sometimes to be seen in a vulnerable place through the eyes of a female coach, a female, through the feminine lens. And so I just keep seeing that that sentiment of, well, no, men should only be coached by men. Whereas I've never seen it the other way around. It's just it's an interesting thing, but I do want to just emphasize for people that I feel like it is important, just as important for the feminine females to be coached by men who embody divine masculine energy, because quite frankly, women haven't had the exposure to that energy either, right? It goes both ways. I have had multiple conversations with divine masculine essence men who reflect back to me things that I don't see in myself that are important for me to see, whether it be things about me that I'm not honoring within myself and things about me that maybe I need to work on in myself. And the same goes the other way around. And it doesn't come across the same way when it's from the same gender, right? And that's what's so beautiful, is the feminine and the masculine see the world differently, process things differently, and reflect things differently. So anyone who tells you that a man can only be coached by a man to get real value out of it is missing the whole picture, right? And you guys know me, right? I come on, I feel very mama bear when it comes to people that I work with, people that I'm friends with, people that are here on my channels working with me, watching my videos, where it's like anytime I see something that I think could be potentially detrimental, or something that's based in some truth, but maybe there's a distortion to it, I feel it compelled to give my perspective on it, because my role is to continue to bring that kind of light and that kind of perspective to the world. Now, you may not agree with me, you can have a different opinion than me, and that's absolutely acceptable. And it doesn't mean I'm right, you're wrong. This is simply my perspective and all the work that I have done over the last 20 years as a healer and as somebody who has worked with literally thousands of people on their journeys of growth, ascension, healing. And these are just my personal opinions and observations, but I do hope that you do consider whether you are a feminine or a masculine, what the being coached by the opposite polarity embodied could really add to your experience. So again, I just had to come on because it's like, I saw it a few times and I'm like, okay, it's fine, people are thinking that, but I kept seeing it over and over and over and over again. And it's the only sentiment I saw, which was, no, men can't be coached by women. Kind of like, women, get out of here, you don't know what you're doing. It's kind of the feeling from these posts. And anyway, that's it. I just had to come on and share that, and to hopefully expand your horizons and your perspective on what is possible. And at the end of the day, whatever you personally feel called towards is what is best for you. You may not want to be coached by a female if you are a masculine. You may not want to be coached by a masculine if you are a feminine. And that is absolutely your prerogative. But to just blanket say that men can't be coached by women, simply to me is very limiting and potentially detrimental sentiment that I just, of course, wanted to again clarify from my perspective for all of you. So I'd love to know your thoughts and your experiences, if you have had experiences either direction, and would love to hear in your comments down below. So my friends, until next time, I send you so much love. Bye.